Russia and America are at each other's throats. It seems Ukraine is the sacrifice in the game of, well, I don't know really, Leo, who's got the largest appendage?
Yes, it's a game of war. So, yeah, they're basically playing Risk. Remember that game?
Of course I do. It was very boring. It never ended in our house.
Well, this one's not going to be boring because it's going to be happening in real life. But apparently, according to Whitehall, they're conspiracy theorists now because they say Putin's going to create a false flag event as a justification for going to war. And you can see it almost happening now. So Biden's national security advisor just said that the US had reason to believe that Russia could invade Ukraine any day now and before the end of the Winter Olympics. I don't know if they're planning on combining it with the Winter Olympics. I mean, it's happening in the snow. There's going to be shooting. So, you know, I think people are going to get medals as well. So it could actually work. But the Kremlin's response to this, they said the hysteria of the White House is more indicative than ever, according to the Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova. And what she said that I really liked was the Anglo-Saxons need a war. So we're Anglo-Saxons now. I've been watching that show, The Last Kingdom, on Netflix.
Right.
And it's about Vikings and stuff. So yeah. I quite like being described as an Anglo-Saxon. It's quite fun. It is. It paints a picture, doesn't it? Yes, storm over there. But yeah, so at the moment, you know, they're really preparing for war. Britain is actually pulling its troops out before the war happens, which seems to be jumping the gun, like we'll stand shoulder to shoulder with you up until it looks like there's going to be a war. And then the troops, they're gone. American officials have also recommended that American citizens leave the Ukraine so that they, you know, obviously they'll want some there so they can botch a withdrawal in the coming months.
Exactly. Leave a few innocent people behind.
But yeah, the big story is going to happen, and apparently, according to Whitehall, Putin's looking for just an excuse, you know, a peg to hang this war on. Yeah, for sure. And it seems to be in the diary for Wednesday.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. It's a bit weird how everyone knows, isn't it? It's like this thing about the false flag. It's like we're planning a false flag. It's not very good if people know it's going to be a false flag. That kind of ruins the whole point with the old false flags. But that quote was interesting. You said the Anglo-Saxons need a war at any cost. They went on to say provocations, misinformation and threats are a favourite method of solving their own problems. Some people do think this. I saw a very interesting exchange on Twitter because some people think the West sort of has been pushing for this and other people think it's just Putin. So Edward Snowden wrote, there is nothing more grotesque than a media pushing for war. But then this guy, Tom Gara, replied, I hate it when the media masses 100,000 troops on the Ukrainian border. So it depends who you blame, you know, whose side are you on, if you're on Putin's or ours, I suppose.
Well, I think there's quite a lot of people in this country who are on Putin's side. I mean, Jeremy Corbyn's always been very critical of NATO and very loving of communism. So he probably
sided with the Russians over Salisbury, didn't he?
Did he really?
Yeah. Well, he suggested in Parliament that perhaps we should send the evidence to Moscow and let them decide if it was Novichok.
And they poisoned a homeless man with mental health issues, which is the core demographic for Jeremy Corbyn's voters. But I mean, we're seeing sanctions being threatened, but there's so many sanctions already on Russia. I mean, I think they're going to have to introduce a tax on restaurants and prostitutes in Belgravia.
Yeah,
that's the last place to hit.
What did you think to the Russia hoax, though? Because there is times when the West will use Russia as a scapegoat, isn't there, when that fake Russia hoax against Trump?
Oh, yeah. Well, they always, both sides do it. Both sides say that, you know, Russia was involved. I mean, Trudeau at the moment is even saying that Russia is behind the truckers.
Really?
I'm not even doing, as well as the racist, misogynist, transphobes, homophobes, there's also Russia involved in the truckers.